Welcome back to Boca Raton, Florida for another installment on the Indian layout. I described it fairly fully in the last video, so I won't waste time doing so again now. Let's turn the camera off and get to work. Well, it's been a few days and I haven't been able to record anything up till now. Just been too busy. But this is the area that I'm working on at the moment. Let me just duck under. This aisle here, where the bridges are, is about the only area on the layout where there's some proper scenery. Everywhere else it's just a quick ground cover job. I've got most of the rough forms mocked up. There's turnouts at both ends of this gold bridge. I'm going to have to arrange for a couple of removable rock castings so that the switch machines can be got to, because it was totally impossible to mount them underneath. There was just no space. Anyway, the next thing I've got to do is get the multi-tool out and carve these foam blocks to shape. Well, yesterday I spent most of the day installing rock castings and covering the surfaces with celluclay. I've gone from the middle of the entry around the corner all the way along this side of the room, this bridge area, and very nearly into that corner. I've got to continue a little bit further today, but I don't have much product left. The boss has gone to get some more, and I will probably finish off the pack that I have before he gets back. So then I'll be on to a different project. Well, the switch machines at either end of this bridge had to be mounted above track level. So I've created removable rock outcrops to hide them. And the way to do it without getting it stuck to the celluclay is to wrap the rock casting in plastic. Now that the celluclay is just about set, it is time to remove the plastic bag. If I didn't do that, the celluclay would have glued it firmly in place, because it sticks to just about everything. Then the edges of the clay will just be finished, painted to look like extensions of the rock, and the joints will be just hidden with ground cover. Well, a couple more days have passed since I last made a recording. The celluclay base step is now complete on the top deck. There's a few other things I've done as well. Had to set some buildings in place. And if we look at the back of the helix, we can see I have put some scenery, or I'm in the middle of putting scenery between the regular upper deck main line and the top lap of the helix. It'll look a whole lot more finished, just for the sake of a few minutes extra work. One thing I have discovered with this celluclay is it makes very good glue. This water tower, originally I was going to set it on a base, and I decided to lower it, but because it had just a smearing of the clay around the base, it is glued in absolutely rock solid. So fortunately it's in the right place. Well, yesterday I started doing the ground cover and ballasting on the upper deck. We got probably half of it done. It's dug under. I started in the Delhi station because of a rather tall building that goes along the front, so I won't be able to get to the yard after that's installed. And then I went round behind the double face backdrop and did the engine terminal, and then I worked on this area around the top of the helix. This morning I'm going to continue working my way along this side of the room through the area with the bridges and then around this corner until I get to the yard. And if I get that far, then I will head back down to the other end and work in this corner, because the yard is basically just a lot of ballasting but pretty much nothing else in the way of scenery, so that's a less important area. There's other guys that can do that if I run out of time. And then I will hopefully have 2 more days left in which to get the ground cover on the lower level done. Well, this is what the layout looks like on the morning of the last full day. The upper deck is virtually complete. Let me just duck under, get inside. The water in the river is a project for the end of this evening. The last thing, everything else is done. Oh, actually the turntable pit hasn't been done yet as well. Keep finding things. Go around the other side. We'll just step over Ian. He won't mind. As was mentioned a couple of days ago, it is really basic scenery. I haven't glued this lamp pole in yet. Just need to spot a glue down there. So that's the upper deck. The lower deck is still a big mess. And of course there's no lighting down here, so it's going to be a real pain working on it. Climb over Ian one more time. Sorry. There is a lot of track on this layout. The ballasting just is taking a lot longer than I thought it would, because I underestimated the amount of track. I did get to start the scenery down here yesterday before I left, and hopefully I can get a lot more done by the end of today. So it's time to turn the camera off and get to work. Well, it's Saturday morning. I've been here a couple of hours, but I now have to leave, head off to the airport. Ian and James will be staying as long as it takes to get the layout done. The top deck is basically finished. Did some more work down here this morning. It's still a mess.
Well, unfortunately, that's all I have time for on this trip. I have a plane to catch, so I have to run off now. Ian and James will stay behind as long as necessary to get the layout finished. Hope you enjoyed the video, and hope to see you again next week. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.